The Real Weather Watch is brought to you by DeKalb, unstoppable yield momentum. We're joined right now on RealAgriculture.com by Chris Scott. Chris is a meteorologist with the Weather Network. Welcome today, Chris.
Hey, thanks, Sean.
Chris, pretty much harvest across the western prairies is pretty much complete, except for in the Peace region, that central northern Alberta up into the Peace. They're not finished yet. What kind of harvest weather are they going to expect in the next couple weeks?
Well, fairly typical fall conditions overall across central and northern Alberta. We got lucky in September. We had a great finish to the growing season, and we needed it because we'd had such a wet spring and early summer, and it was a bit on the cool side, especially in June. But we had a strong finish, and that even lasted into the end of September in some places, which allowed much of southern Alberta and right through Saskatchewan, Manitoba to finish off the season quite well. Going through the next couple of weeks, we don't see any massive cold air outbreaks across the Peace. And that's good news because often this time of the year we can get some systems that come in, and if we have enough cold air around, we can get a lot of snow. And that can really snarl the harvest of any remaining oats or any grain crops in the field. We do see this pattern where we'll see a few showers every now and then. We've got a system coming in, it looks like, for the Thursday time frame of this week, where we'll see some rainfall. And temperatures starting this week a little bit above normal. We're actually doing quite well across the region, above 10 degrees for highs, into the teens in some places. We'll be dropping that back, it looks like, a little bit towards the end of this week, and kind of bouncing around that 8-9 degree mark for forecast highs as we head through into early next week. Might see a few flakes mixed in the odd time, but nothing significant. And as we head through the end of October, right now, we don't see any big push of our Arctic air. It's chilly. It's the end of October and early November, but we don't see that big push to, let's say, lows in the minus teens, anything like that occurring anytime. Once you get past about the midpoint of November, then everything changes, but we hope to have most of the harvest off by then.
Well, we've been hearing a lot in Western Canada about this ferocious winter that we're going to have. When does that start then?
Well, when you're doing these seasonal predictions, the reality is that beyond 2 weeks, we can only give a very general sketch of what the weather is going to be. I like to think of forecasting like taking a picture with a camera. And when you're dealing with short-term forecast, you can take a very sharp picture. When you're going out beyond 2 weeks, that picture can only be so sharp. And in fact, it's very fuzzy. So we can only see the general details. And the deal with this winter is that we have a developing La Nina in the Pacific Ocean, and that tends to skew our winters in the prairies towards colder than normal weather. Sometimes you get a lot of snow, like we had last year across southern Alberta and southern Saskatchewan. Other times you don't. Precipitation is a really finicky thing to predict. So we don't want to say right now that we're into some wicked winter, the likes that we haven't seen in a long time. We're not going to say that just yet, but we do think as we get towards the midpoint of November, that's when we tend to snap. That's when things start to go downhill quickly. We saw that last year where we started off November quite warm, and if you remember in central and southern Alberta, it was like a rubber band snapping, and we just plunged into winter. When we get closer to that point, we'll start to refine when that might happen, but at this point, we don't see that happening within the next 2 weeks, and that's the good news, so we can hopefully get any remaining crops harvested and put in.